Okay, question 4, quite a long question. 140 girls were asked how long they spent revising for the GCSE exams. The cumulative frequency diagram shows the results. Okay, so part of question 1, then estimate the median time the girls spent revising. So for median, of course, 140 girls, you've got to look, median is the middle one. So there's 140 girls, you go at the 70th, because 70 is half of 140. It says 70 there. So you draw a line across until it hits the cumulative frequency graph. We draw down, and that comes out to be, there you go, 52, and we've got 52 there. Okay. Part 2 then, calculate the number of girls who spent between 40 and 50 hours revising. Circle the answer. Well, if we look at 40 hours there, okay, and 50 hours here, if we read across, you can see 40 hours, there were 50 of them. 50 hours, there were 60 of them. So between 40 and 50 hours, there's 10, isn't there? 60 take away 50 is 10. So 10 girls. Okay, question 3 then. It says circle the true or false, right? Each of these. So 25 girls spent between 30 and 50 hours revising. So let's have a look at that. 30 hours, okay. Well, we've got, what's that, 30 there? Yeah. And then 50 hours, there were 60. So difference between 30 and 60 is 30. And they said 25. So no, that's false. Okay, so you'll circle it, false. No girls spent more than 80 hours revising. Well, if we look at this here, the very last girl, the 140th girl, okay, here, in terms of how this has been done, spent 70 hours at most. So no girls spent more than 80 hours revising. That's true. That's true. The modal group is between 50 and 60 hours spent revising. Now, that's sort of interesting, the modal group. If you think about it, the most common, okay? So the most common amount of people in between groups, so it's looking at the group between 50 and 60. And if you look here, less than 50 hours, 60 girls. But less than 60 hours, there was, what's that, 112, I think that's 112 there. Okay, so if you look between 50 and 60 hours, there were a lot of girls, weren't there? Actually 52 there. There's 52 girls, so spent between 50 and 60 hours. That's the way you can work that out. Just look at how many is the difference between those two time ranges. So yeah, that's true. That's true. The modal group is true there, because there are more girls packed up in that group, and compare them to the others, you can see there's a lot more here. It's a steeper line. 20 girls spent more than 60 hours revising. Well, if we look at 60 hours, which we just did, of course, and was 112, okay, more than 60 hours, it says 20. Well, actually, 112 all the way to 140 then, because that would represent everyone after 60 hours. That's actually 28, isn't it? And they're saying exactly 20 girls, so that's false. Okay, part B, 140 boys were asked how long they spent revising for their GCSE exams. Cumulative frequency shows this below. Okay, the boys spent less, look. So Trevor makes two statements. The boys' interquartile range is greater than the girls' interquartile range. On average, boys spent more time revising. Okay, so are both Trevor's statements correct? Show calculations and give reasons to support your answer. Well, actually, I'm going to tackle statement 2 to begin with, right? Because statement 2 I can get done a lot quicker, right? So we'll go for statement 2 first. On average, boys spent more time revising. You noticed a minute ago I said, look, the boys spent less time. Well, I said that because no boys spent more than 60 hours, whereas the girls spent, some girls actually spent 70 hours, didn't they? But when it says average, right, this is really important. You've got to think about the average value you can get from cumulative frequency, right? And the average value is the median, of course, the median. So let's look at the median of the boys. So remember now, 70 is the median, midpoint. So if we have a look at the median there, 70, and you can read that, we could see then 40 hours is the time for boys. So we could see, we write this down, the median time for boys, and it's important you put this sort of reasoning down. Median time for boys is 70 hours. Now I can't remember what the median time for girls was. I think we did work it out, didn't we? Let's go back to check that out. Median time for girls but it's actually 52 hours. Yeah? So, because if you read across that 70, the median, it's 52 hours. So we write that down. The median time for girls is 52 hours. So on average, who spent more? Well, clearly here, boys spent more time, didn't they, on average, because the median time there is 70, the median for girls is only 52. So you could say, yeah, on average, because that's what the median is, boys spent more time. More time. So Trevor is correct. Okay, now let's go to statement 1, the boys' interquartile range. Now, interquartile range, we're going to have to work it out, right? So, let's work out the boys' interquartile range first. And remember the interquartile range, okay, we're looking at a quarter of the data. So, if the median is 70, quarter of 140 then is going to be 35, isn't it? You know, halfway is 70, so we've got to halve it again, which is 35. So 30, there's 30 there, so 35 is in between. So we do it there, aren't we? It's important we try and get this accurate. Okay, there's 35 there. So if we read down from here, okay, so I've got there, I think that's 18.5. So the lower quartile there is 18.5. So let's go to my answer. I'm getting lost here with this. Let's have a look at this. So let's go to my answer on this. So the boys, let's sort this out first. Lower quartile, let's write this down before I get things muddled up. So lower quartile is 18.5. Let's work out the upper quartile is for the boys. So 35, remember. So if we add 35 onto that, we get 105. So that will take us then to the upper quartile for the boys. And I'm reading that to be 45.5. Okay. This is the upper quartile, 3 quarters. So then interquartile range is the upper, take away the lower. So 45.5, take away 18.5, and that comes to be 27. Okay, so let's do the girls. Lower quartile and upper quartile. And we'll see then what the interquartile range is. So we're going to do the same measurements again now for the girls. So we're going to measure now the lower quartile. So remember now, quarter is 35, so we read across there. Okay, so that comes out to be 32.5. The upper quartile then is 105. So that will be 58.5. 58.5, which is there. So if you take them away, 58.5, take away 32.5, so if you work that out, I think that comes to 26. So boys' interquartile range is greater than the girls. What it is? It is. Trevor's correct again. Okay? It is greater. Trevor's correct. Trevor's correct on both occasions.